we know that things are changing, and we want to just tell you everything we know. So we've been getting questions, and we want to just answer those questions as best we can. And if you have questions, send them in. We're monitoring your questions as they come in. So send them on over. Now we're going to start with a few of the questions that we've already gotten, and we'll go through some of these. But as you have them, please send them in. Mike, if you want to do a quick Instagram and Twitter shout that we're live here, that'd be great too. So we'll start off with this. So a big one we're getting is college recruiting, and so right now the NCAA, we're in a dead period, which is kind of unique because normally we don't go into a dead period this fast. There's no in-person recruiting, and this is supposed to, as of now, extend all the way to April 15th. So my question that I'm getting and you're getting is, what are college coaches doing right now? And the follow-up to that is, how are the non-NCAA schools that really aren't normally affected by this, how are they going to be affected by this change?
Well, okay, so first of all, with regards to Division I schools, and this kind of goes for all schools, is they're doing the best they can because obviously they're in uncharted waters here. So they're on the phone. They're making phone calls. They're calling all the connections that they have out there. Normally they would be out watching junior college events, watching high school events, trying to hunt down players for the roster next year, as well as the younger players, and just building up their lists, building up the players and evaluating the players that they want to recruit and get on campus and all that. So right now, honestly, with regards to recruiting, they're doing the best to, again, watch as much game film as humanly possible. They're doing their best with, again, checking the transfer portals to see who's leaving. And the transfer portal over the last few years is, it's reached up to 800 names. I wouldn't be shocked if this year it jumped to 1,000 names. And with this whole situation going on, I think it's even going to jump to even more, maybe even double the following year. One of the other big things with regards to getting recruits on campuses, whether it's Division I, and Division II, NCAA, etc., most campuses right now are on a freeze where they're not allowing students on campus. So coaches are lining up their visits for after that, April 15th date. Some of them have dates that are even longer than that, where they're closed for even longer than that. If that date gets extended, it's even going to back up all of that even further. So they're trying to do a lot of virtual tours and things like that with regards to the guys getting on campus and doing visits.
Okay. So now that's interesting. You mentioned some of the younger players, because a lot of times, usually a lot of NCAAs at this point really have their guys they want to sign. Mm-hmm. Once those kids commit, then the Division IIs will jump in and move down, and then the NAIs and the JCs. But right now, with this kind of freeze situation, you've got a lot of seniors that probably, the top ones know where they're going. They probably already made their decisions. But there's probably a lot of guys that are just hanging out right now. So what if you're a senior and basically have had a ton of your spring sort of cut, and we'll get into that in a little bit. What should you be doing if you are a high school senior set to graduate this year and want to play in college basketball next year?
Well, there's a ton of really good seniors that are out there that have not signed. For one, I would say just be patient. This is going to be probably the slowest year I can ever think of with regards to how this is all going to unfold. Just like you said, a lot of times the Division I schools are signing their players, and then it kind of filters down to Division II, to, NCAA, and so on and so forth. But this thing's going to take some time to unfold. If you're a senior, again, be proactive. Game film is huge. Get on there, cut highlight film, cut game film, get that out there. And be prepared with that. So if you don't have any, you need to be putting that together. Obviously, be flexible with your time as far as this thing in a month kind of relaxes on travel and whatnot. Be ready to move quickly, because those college schools are going to move quickly. So I think one of the big things is again, patience. Get anything. People are sitting at their desk. Coaches are sitting at their desk. And I know you guys are probably sitting at your desk. Put together game film. Do the best you can. Be as proactive as you can. with regards to having that all prepared. So because how it will work is, whether it's a junior college, a Division I, any level of school, they're going to call a contact. Let's say it's me, or they're going to call your high school coach or whatever. And one of the first things, if they don't know much about you, is they're going to say, I need to see some film. Do you have some film on him? I've heard he's a good player, And the quicker access we have to that, the better.
Okay. You mentioned being prepared, and this just kind of came to me. Do you think that prep school now becomes an option, or is that still something that's really only in certain circumstances?
I think it's all on the table right now. I think that as parents, as players, you guys have worked so hard. Your kids have worked hard. They're looking for opportunities in prep schools, junior colleges. All of those are going to be way more on the table. These schools are still going to need to fill their rosters, and so they're not just all of a sudden going to say, "Well, forget about it. We're not gonna we're not gonna have a team next year." If they're allowed to play, which more than likely they are, they need players. But they might be getting them from different sources. They may be going to junior colleges, taking, again, all those transfers. So if you're a high school senior and you may need an extra year, that's another option.
Okay. All right, that's good. All right, so that's for the kids that are graduating. What if you still got another year of eligibility? So you're a junior, and this usually, between your junior and your senior year, that is a high impact time for players that want to go on to play in college.
Yes.
And let's assume that the NCAA is scrambling. They're changing their open periods, which affects everybody. There's a trickle-down effect all the way down to the JC ranks, even the prep school ranks. If you're a junior, is it any different?
As far as this year as compared to last year, or just is it different than a senior?
Well, it's going to be a little different than a senior, but yeah, is there something you should be doing differently or more proactively than, say, last year? Because last year it was, get my AAU schedule. Yeah. Get out there and play in the open events, go to the right tournaments, make sure I'm seen by the right coaches. We don't know what's going to happen with that. What should I be doing differently, if anything?
Well, first and foremost is just continuing to do what you can to stay in shape, to stay on top of your game. I understand that it's that's a lot different. So it's mostly going to be some work getting done on your own. But you got to be prepared and in shape, because bottom line is it's all going to start with if you're good enough. If you're good enough, then you got a chance of playing, college basketball. But what I will say is, again, be more proactive than before. If you have a chance, again, get that video ready. Get that highlight video, that game film ready to send out, so that when there's requests, we have whatever information at our fingertips we can get out there. Because, again, yes, is one of the things that you're doing a little different. Absolutely. As with regards to your schedule and as far as travel, but so is the coaches. So they've got to be creative. They've got to do different things than they maybe have never done before. And so what's that entail right now is just watching more film, making more phone calls even than before. And I know college coaches are on the phone 24/7, but it's going to be that much more important for them to have a year doing that. So that's what I think. Yeah. Just again, be proactive, be prepared, but also, again, be patient, because they've got to sign all those players for this year. When you're talking about the immediate, they're starting to sign the players for the seniors and transfers for next year, but they got to make their lists. They got to make their evaluations, and they need, that film. They need that all that we just talked about. Okay. And again, be prepared, because when this sucker opens up, it's going to move very quickly.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that, because one of the questions I got from Lucas Broadsword on Instagram was a question about what should I be doing, but also just the general comment. Well, since spring is canceled, is the spring canceled? I mean, is it over, or are we still moving forward with that?
Again, that's a very great question, and it's an extremely fluid situation. I've talked to several directors, including ourselves, because we run a tournament, that's saying, listen, if there's a tournament, if there's an event, if there's an opportunity, we're going to do it, because those coaches have to get out and evaluate, and the players want to play. Again, you guys have Lucas, you put in so much work, and all the players have, that they want to play, you guys want to compete, and if the opportunity is presented and is available, if they're letting kids back into school or whatever, then these directors are planning on having a tournament. So again, as a player, you should be prepared for whatever comes your way. it may not happen, but you have to think if it does, do you want to be, and these coaches you know are going to be at these events, do you want to be the one that wasn't ready to go, wasn't on a roster, wasn't ready, and now you're left behind, if that makes sense?
And so, and what I'm hearing is we don't know. Like we can tell you that what we're planning on doing is we've basically changed our schedule. We usually have several events we do in April. We're not going to do those now. We're just planning on starting in May. That felt like the safer time, and looking at what the school districts are telling us and what the CDC was telling us. They're basically saying you need to go out about 8 weeks before things are going to happen. So that's what we're planning on. It's still possible that, again, the NCAA is saying March 15th. They're opening up the possibility that our
April
normal,
15th.
or April 15th, that the normal open periods would still be a go. And that may be a bit of a hopeful scenario, but they haven't said anything otherwise. As far as we know, April 15th is still a go date, but we're planning accordingly. So realistically, things are obviously changing. But like you said, just be prepared for what may be coming. Knowing what that is.
Yeah, we understand what's going on out there, and obviously right now travel and safety is on the top of our minds. But I also know that if things and when things change, it's going to be one of those situations where we don't know if it's going to be a slow progression or it's going to be immediate. We don't know if they're just going to say, listen, everybody's back in school and away we go, or hey, we're shutting it down till June. But because we don't know, you have to plan accordingly.
Right.
And again, if I can tell you right now, the worst case scenario is you're not ready to go and something happens in a positive way and you're on the sidelines because you weren't on a roster, you weren't set up, you weren't ready to go.
Okay, so, and just a reminder, if you have questions, go ahead and type them in, and we are monitoring those here. As far as what you're hearing, and let's just play the hypothetical game for a second.
Yep.
Let's just say, all right, the 2 live periods, and just I guess for those that are younger, maybe I've done this before. Live periods are when the NCAAs are allowed to actually go to a tournament and evaluate players. And normally there's only 2 weekends for both the guys and the girls that they're allowed to do that. If we assume that, and they're in April,
Yep.
if we assume that those are not happening, you've been hearing some things about the adjustments that may be coming. Now, I know this is speculation. We don't want to start rumors, but are you hearing anything that feels like it has some real momentum behind it?
Well, the big thing that I'm hearing is just that the NCAA is probably going to take those 2 weekends away. But again, in an effort to make sure that they can get the best players possible and that they can evaluate, they're talking about giving some back. And so I've heard from a couple sources that maybe things get better soon and they may give us Memorial Day weekend. I've heard that they may open right now in July. There's 1 open weekend. They may open multiple, 2 or 3. And I've even heard they may open something in the fall. Those are all total speculation. That nobody knows that for a fact because the NCAA has not come out and kind of given their revised plan. And I can imagine the reason why they haven't given that revised plan is they don't know what that is. This is such a fluid situation. And as everybody knows, things are changing, not even day by day, but minute by minute. And so that's a huge factor in for anybody to be able to plan. So again, being patient and just being prepared hopefully will allow for us to, when they do make those announcements, to quickly be able to, make our adjustments and then be ready to go.
Okay. So kind of directed to, this is for any, I guess, maybe any club program around the country. We've been seeing it. Tryouts are canceled. I've seen it in Seattle. I've talked to people in Colorado, and they're like, yeah, we had tryouts planned, schools shut down, facilities shut down, we couldn't have our tryouts. So a lot of places are scrambling right now. We've been messing around with the virtual idea. We've tried, we also had to cancel a tryout. We've gone to this virtual tryout with game film. How has that gone so far, and would you recommend other clubs look at giving kids an opportunity to do that? Or is it just something that's become too hard to manage?
I think that it's fantastic. We've had several of these 20, 30-minute films that have come our way. And it's been awesome to be able to evaluate. We've got enough information. And just like a college coach, I mean, I've been doing coaching for 20 years, Andy and I have been going through the film, and we know what we're looking for. That's why, again, highlight film I think is great, but I'd also having a half a game of film has been beneficial. Because, again, I know that so many of you have aspirations and dreams of playing at the next level, and you still want to be on a roster. And whether it's in a month or in 3 months, or even if it's into the fall or whatever, you know, if you've got that film prepared, and I think it's worked fantastic. I've watched several of them and said, wow, these are great films. And everybody now has, you know, every high school pretty much has some way of doing film work and doing whether it's Huddle or Synergy or what is it, NFHS. There's ways for us to watch you guys play and still be able to put together quality rosters. So again, just because you can't make that tryout, don't quit, don't give up, do what you can. Because again, it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you've worked too hard to not get the opportunity.
Okay, that's good. And I'm just going to check in. Mike, have you seen anything on Instagram or Twitter, other questions that have come our way?
No, we'll look at those ones as well.
Okay.
I haven't received any now.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk video then, because that's obviously what everybody's doing at this moment in time. We are in a video-based world. Highlights versus game film. What are the pros and cons? Which would you rather see? What are coaches wanting to see, and how does that work?
I think the highlight is a great way to garnish quick attention, right? So being able to have I watched the film this morning. It was 4.5 minutes, which was a great highlight, showing some different parts of this particular player's game, which can intrigue me. And that I would say that if it's intrigued, I know college coaches and even myself that get hundreds and hundreds of highlight films, and especially in a time like this where there's not a whole lot else to do, they're willing to sit down and watch that 3 to 5 minute film. If you send them one that's 25 minutes, I promise you they're going to get 2 minutes into it and say yes or no. So it's great for just getting that attention and maybe allowing for people to kind of pop and go, wow, I'm impressed. What's next? Because the next thing that happens is, if they're good enough, that's where either you're making a phone call, another one to follow up, and asking maybe for more film. And so having like a full game at that point to actually watch, you know, because you're taking the highlights, just those snippets of great plays, but watching how they're interacting with their teammates, watching how they're interacting with their coach, the best you can. I know you're not there. I know it's not live. You're not there in the gym, and then also watching how you defend, watching how hard you play, watching how you approach loose balls and all those little things that someone's not going to put that in a highlight film.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. And a lot of times just how do you respond to mistakes?
Yep.
You're never going to see that in a highlight film because there are no mistakes in a highlight film.
Yep.
If you are, now some of the questions we've been getting, actually a lot of these are from younger kids, 8th and 9th graders that want to try out for a team, but they say, I don't have game film, which makes a lot of sense because usually high schools and middle schools are not recording their games. What is a good alternative to that? And how would you structure it? What would you suggest goes into that?
I know that one's really hard. I actually watched one of those yesterday of a younger kid, and he did a great job because he didn't have anything, and what he sent was just some workout type of film. Because we're in a situation where we're just doing the best of what we can do, right? I mean, if you had 5 games and you could cut it up so that you could watch it, great, but kids don't have that. So just doing the very best that you can is, again, do you have somebody that's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, you know, anything you can put together, you know, whether it's just having you going around shooting, you know, 20 jump shots, you know, shooting shots off the dribble, 1 dribble pull-ups, finishing around the rim, anything that we can watch that kind of shows how you move and can show any skill set that you have. Because again, this is a really difficult time, and just like we understand that you're just doing the best that you can. And here's the other thing that I thought was pretty cool about watching this film yesterday was they did the best they could, but man, they submitted it, which means they care. They put it together, they submitted it, which a lot of kids are like, well, I'm just not going to do that. We'll just bag it. But that person that submitted it, I was like, this person obviously loves basketball and genuinely wants to be a part of something. and probably has really strong aspirations to play at the next level. So that alone to me is huge, shows that they're going to be willing to be coachable, be coached up, all that good stuff.
Yeah, well, and especially in a program where the culture and the intangibles are so important.
Yeah.
That's one of those that even though you don't see game film, just the effort, which goes so far, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it takes you so far, is quite apparent when you're willing to put something together when it wasn't easy to do. We did get a question here. This has more to do with just the competition level on the girls' side, and we've noticed this as we jumped into the girls' side. And the question had to do with, I see a lot more younger girls playing with the older girls, whereas guys are really it's 17U, it's 16U, it's 15U, and some of those players will move up based on situation and playing time. It seems like there's a lot more mix of ages on in the same unit. Why do you see that, and why is it maybe different from the guys, or is there a different reason for all that?
I think that a couple things come into play, and especially in talking to the ladies and gentlemen that work with the girls for the period of time, is girls just mature quicker. Okay. You know what I mean? So they are closer to their full height at a younger age. Also, it's just a numbers game too. There's so many more. What we've noticed is that girls that are into it, that are practicing and working hard, they are passing by a lot of the other girls because they're taking it so serious, and that also allows them to compete at a higher level. And just like with our guys, the biggest thing is we want the competition to be great. We don't want our teams to get beat by 30, but we don't want to win games by 30 either. So they need to we need to move up a team into a spot where they can get the right level of competition. Whether winning or losing those 5-point games is how they get better. Bottom line is we need all of our players and all of our teams to just compete and play to get better. You know what I mean? Because winning games by 40 points doesn't do anybody any good. Nobody's learning from that experience.
All right. We have a question here from Roland Hobson over in Oregon asking, are we going to be playing this July?
It's a game plan. I mean, I'm hoping that things will come back around and be ready to go, because, again, that's a good, 4 months away, roughly? I hope so. If not, you would hope that the NCAA, working with all these other parties, are saying, okay, we're taking away some. Here's what we're willing to give back with regards to exposure events and things like that, because it's such a big deal for all these kids for our kids to get out there and compete against the best players in the country, but also for them to show their skill, to show how good they are, so that they can achieve that goal of getting recruited. So, I mean, again, I have no answers here. It's on the calendar. If you go look on the NCAA, open periods, they're there. I'm just hoping that we can do them.
Okay, and that's one of those things too. Maybe we should jump in with. Obviously, we're not doctors. We're not statisticians. We're basketball guys. So that means we are going to be relying on the expertise of others to determine what we should be doing. And so we've been saying this for a long time, but the things that we're going off of are the CDC guidelines, and we have to trust they know what they're doing. So we're not going to argue with it. So it was an 8-week deal. I think recently they switched it to 10 people for 15 days, which would be at the end of March. I have a feeling that's more of a wait and see kind of deal, where they're going to go, okay, that's when we're going to reevaluate. So that's why we've decided to just push everything out, is we just didn't feel it was safe. But also the local school districts, as most of you know, all these events really, with a few exceptions of the large under one roof places, are done in school districts. They're done in the gyms and the facilities there. And if those school districts are shut down, which pretty much everybody is at this point, that's what we go off of. And they're not going to let anybody host events there, and they shouldn't. It makes a lot of sense. So we're going off of those, and then a lot of it is just we're in a fortunate position because between you and all the coaches and our staff, we have a great network. So we hear what's going on, and it's going to give us a chance to be maybe slightly ahead of the curve. We don't have a crystal ball or anything, but it does give us a little bit of insight. So I think going off of those three things are going to give us the best guidance to do the best that we can, and that's all we can do.
Well, and I think one thing to keep in mind is that we're all in this together. And I don't just mean all the AAU teams, but I mean college coaches and staffs. It's all about safety first, right? But when this thing comes back around, like, I mean, again, college coaches and college programs need players, and they can't get out. If they're not allowed to get out, then they're trying to do what's best for them, and it filters all the way down to the players, to the parents, to everybody. We're all in this together. This isn't a situation where this program over in Oregon has a different set of rules than this one over in California, than this one in Florida, and this and that. We're all in this together. So in order for this structure to work, for it to, long term, whatever decisions they're going to make will affect all of us and all of us together. So the only way that you're falling behind as far as because is just if you're not being proactive which is staying in the gym, figuring out a way to work out. I shouldn't say it that way. Whatever is appropriate in your community to work out and stay in shape. And then again, being prepared so that when this thing goes, you're ready to go. And I think I really do believe right now, because the world's such a virtual world, you've got to use whatever resources that you can with regards to video. And those are the things that you can control. Because again, all this other stuff is out of our control. And if we just got to do the best we can. But again, we are all in this thing together. So don't feel like you're falling behind. Again, the only way you are is if you're not being prepared. So
yeah, it's going to provide some real challenges. But I think if you're a competitor, you're always up for a challenge. And this is no different. This just happens to be life. And you're going to face this kind of stuff regardless. I'll check back with Mike real quick. Anything on Instagram or Twitter? I'm going to look here. See if we've got anything else. I do have one more question. Okay. So, and we talked about July, so we've kind of answered this. But what about summer tryouts? Okay, that's a good question, because if things on our current schedule happen the way that we think they can happen, some of the tournaments that we'll be going to actually occur when we were going to have our summer tryouts.
Yeah.
So what's the feel on how to field summer teams?
Yeah.
Given that normally we would run multiple tryouts again for this will sound weird now, but for players that were doing spring sports and couldn't try out in the spring, which is, again, throw that out now. But what's the feel on that? Is this going to be? Are we going to try to have an event, or are we going back to virtual, or is it just kind of wait and see?
I think it's going to be a wait and see for a couple of reasons. One is, like you mentioned, spring sports. They still haven't made decisions in a lot of places on what they're doing with their spring sports. Which then, what happens with school? How far are we pushing? Is school going to go longer if we push it back? And then also, normally we don't do hardly anything in June, because almost throughout our whole region and every region out there, every weekend there's a weekend tournament or camp. Mm-hmm. What's great is the fact that we will make our adjustments. We'll make them quick and make sure that you are informed. Hey, I know it's unique, but we may have a Monday tryout or a Wednesday tryout. We're going to do whatever we can to make it work. Have your film ready so that you can submit that if needed. But yeah, that's going to be a challenge, but one that we will definitely overcome. As long as there is whatever you want to call AAU, travel, club, whatever, basketball, I can speak for our program. We will be having teams. We will be playing. We will be doing what we do because that's what we're specialists at. That's what we love doing and have a passion for. So the show must go on, and we'll make adjustments as we go. Right?
Yeah, exactly right. That's what we all need to do right now, and understanding that obviously there's no real good things when something like this happens to our world, but it just kind of shifts to now you do the best you can, understanding there's going to be some sacrifices you have to make. Yep. There's going to have to be some flexibility and some understanding. But I'll tell you this, and this is just sort of my own personal view of how things have gone. It's in a time frame here where we've had to have social distancing. I feel like I have connected with more coaches and tournament directors than I ever have out of necessity. But a lot of times that is what really brings out the most innovative things. And it's kind of, I feel like even though things are on pause and things feel really weird right now, ultimately we're going to come out of this stronger.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, we've always said the AAU and travel basketball is the wild, wild west, right? There's very few rules, and the rules that we have are very rarely enforced by anybody. I mean, who's the police on this, right? But now, for the survival of a lot of this, we've had to get together and start working with people that maybe we wouldn't normally be working with, because we are in this boat together. Like you said earlier, we are all in this together, and we have to figure this thing out, because you can't, it's like the telephone. If you just have one person with a telephone, it doesn't work. You have to have somebody on the other end. It's no different when you're in a competitive industry. You have to have other people in it, or it doesn't work. And it's been I guess, a silver lining of all this, which is getting to know more people and starting to figure things out a little bit of that way.
The basketball community is a very small and tight-knit community, and I've been amazed at the support that the families from our program have had towards us, but also each other. And here's the thing, and this is why, again, be prepared. I know you put all these athletes and you cage them up for a month or two. When it's time to play some ball, you're talking about thousands, if not a million, young bucks ready to get out there and play hard and get back going and put a smile back on their face. And through all these challenges that we've got, when that day happens, the joy is going to be awesome. Watching these tournaments with a smile on their face and people getting back on board with just, man, I just, like I said, I was watching reruns of basketball games this whole weekend because I just missed the game so badly because it's not being played. And I think there's a lot of people just like me that are just cannot wait to get back on the court. And when it happens, it's going to happen and be a kind of real special deal because we're all going to see each other again. No, seriously, that'll be going to be such a wonderful thing. So that's why I think we really just need to be prepared. And I thank the whole basketball community for all that support that I feel like we've all been giving each other.
Yeah, it's been great. Really, the support's been awesome. So that's pretty much it for now. We just wanted to tell you what we know. I don't know if that helped or not, but you can always send your questions, send your concerns. We're empathetic. We're not. Most of us are not just coaches. We're parents too, and then if we feel like these kids are our kids, so send us your concerns, send us your questions, and we'll get back to you one way or another. Obviously, like Clint said, we're in the office not as much as we used to be. We're not in the gym ever now, so we're happy to do a lot more of this stuff, just updates of questions and situations and what we know. So let us know what you're interested in, and we will certainly get some out to you. If you got anything else to add, we can.
We're a resource. We're a resource for you. Use us. We want to help. So let us know what you need, and we'll do our best to make sure we can help. With these guys in their dreams, help them achieve it.
All right. Well, thanks. With that, we will sign it off. Stay safe, and we'll be talking to you real soon.